Okay, I've been home from my Larapinta trip for 3 days now, 2 days. So I need to unpack my pack. So I just sort of do a quick gear kind of shakedown review of what I used on this trip and what worked for me and what didn't work. So I'm a yo-yo walk. So I'll hand my camera over to my lovely camera assistant Samantha, and I'll start dissecting through my pack. Okay, so I'll go through a few things quickly. My Hoka speed goats did the whole trip out and back, 510 Ks. I'm not going to talk too much about them. They did survive, but I want to do a separate video about the Hoka speed goats. I haven't got my Dirty Girl Gators, but I wore Dirty Girl Gators with the speed goats. So I'll pop up another video just about them. On my hands and on my arms, obviously, I've got the Lecky Kumo poles, and I'm just using some fingerless. These are actually weightlifting gloves, but mountain bike gloves, any kind of fingerless glove is all I use. Trekking poles, these ones, I've had a few issues with the whole kind of tip basket thing falling off over the years, but Lecky have been pretty good and replaced them if it's been an issue, so I can't complain. They're not the lightest pole going around, but they're fairly sturdy. They're not carbon fibre, they're aluminium, but I give them a pretty hard time, and they seem to be the most reliable for me. Okay, that's a bit noisy. Let's get into the pack. I'll have a look what's on the outside. So I've got my InReach that Sam uses to keep track of me, and I can send emergency messages or whatever I need. So I use a tracking feature most of the time so people can follow along. In this pocket I have my glasses, and normally my phone goes in here, but Sam's filming on that at the moment. So that's on the outside of the pack here. On normally in the two side pockets I have a drink. I'll have an Nalgene, or this is a Mountain Design with graduations for measurements on the side. I normally have that or a Nalgene. And on the other side I'll have like a Gatorade with a wide neck in it. Once I drink the Gatorade, then I use it to make protein drinks or electrolyte drinks or whatever. I don't like to put anything but water in here, but sometimes I have to. On the back pocket here, I've got my camp Havianas. I might try and get a pair of Archies before I go to New Zealand, I think, just to give myself a bit more arch support. And I've got this shelter hat. Now it's a little bit heavy. Sometimes it goes in the pack, sometimes on my head, sometimes on the outside. It's got a hard brim, so it doesn't fold back in the wind. And it was, if you've seen the videos, you'll see I had some fairly windy days. So that's why I have this. That's about as small as it gets, but it's fairly sturdy. And it does stop. I've had it before where the brim folds over on a beach or in the desert, and you basically get sunburnt. So the shelter's good. Not the most comfortable hat. I'm still looking at not the most comfortable because it's hard around the top there, so around my head. But it's okay. But I might be able to find something better one day, I'm hoping. Oh, and I also carry a peak cap. Geez, these are filthy. This is outdoor research, and this folds up really small on that size. I wear this in the morning before it's too hot, or if it's not super hot, and I don't need neck protection. It also works if I happen to get rain, this works good under my rain jacket to keep the visor off my face. Alright, on this trip I took my Z-mat as just a little bit of extra comfort to sit on during the day or sleep if I was sleeping in a creek somewhere during the day. And also at night I shoved it under my thermarest. It's fairly bulky, but it doesn't take up a lot of room on top of your pack. The problem with these is if you're scrub bashing, you've got to be careful. You don't want to be leaving little bits of foam all over the bush. But on the Larapinta, I didn't have to worry about that. Alright, now the pack itself is a HMG Windrider. I've had it for years and years and years. It's still going strong. I've patched up a few of the side pockets and that, where rocks have scraped against them, but considering it's probably done at least 7,000 kilometres, I reckon it's going well. I did 4.5 last year, and I've already done 3 this year, so I'd say it's closer to 8,000 kilometres this pack, because I've had it since 2000, before COVID, I think. Okay, I carried a bladder, CNOC bladder. This is a 3 litre. This was good for high camps. If I had to lug water up hills, because I only had 2 litres of like hard bottle capacity. This is my food bag. I just keep my food in my dry bag, or in a dry bag. And inside here I've got that's my cooker and my kind of spoon, fork, jack of all trade kind of thing to eat off. I like to use dry bags for my food more so. I like to do them up at night and then do my pack up as well. And I never seem to have any trouble with animals on any of my walks, where a lot of people seem to. This is like a little organising bag. It's a Hyperlight mountain gear bag. In here I put all my odds and ends. So this one's got, that's my first aid pills. That's just a spare bag. That's a patch kit for my thermarest. Snake bandage. A little pack, like a little day pack that folds up. I think it's 20 litres. It's handy if I'm walking to a waterhole for a swim, or I have to walk to a waterhole to grab water and walk a kilometre or so back to camp. The pack towel, didn't really use it much on the Larapinta. I think I only used it once. But yeah, it doesn't weigh much, handy to have. So I've got some like creams and stuff here, but it's not much interest. It's just some powder for my feet, some pawpaw cream, and some antiseptic cream. I also had some sunscreen, but I left it in the last food drop. I carried like a toe warmer. I used one for the whole trip. I had a few extras in my food drops in case I needed them. It's a luxury, you don't really need it. Like I said, I used one. Some lens cleaners, a sponge in case this got really dewy, just to wipe down the tent, but it never did. What else is in here? Got my compass, which was along for the ride again. This is just a waterproof cover for my iPhone in case I want to actually go swimming with it. It'll keep it dry underwater. And a battery pack. Sometimes I carried one, sometimes I carried 2, depending on how long I was between stops. Sometimes I have one of these and one of the ones that are half the size. This is a Signet. There's a lot of brands that work, so I find Signet works pretty good for me. Alright, the bag itself is fairly waterproof. It's Dyneema, so it keeps most of this stuff dry, especially when it's in here. Alright, we'll go a bit random here. So I got that's my buff, because I was cowboy camping a lot and I'm using a quilt. It's got no hood, so I need to have something over my head sometimes. And that's where I use this too. This is like a thermal icebreaker, so it's got insulation on the front. Also, it's got a hood with comes up over your mouth, so it's handy in the quilt. They're not cheap, icebreaker though. So you don't have to have icebreaker, you get what you can. Puffy got a fair run on this walk, which is unusual. This is my old Rab Puffy. So I took a down Puffy on this one. I was pretty confident I wasn't going to get too much moisture, which worked out to be fine. Obviously with down you've got to be careful if it's raining a lot, you've got to keep it dry, otherwise you lose your insulation, but for the Larapinta, down's perfect. So this is my duplex Dyneema ground sheet, weighs about 40-50 grams, and it's I used it when I was cowboy camping, and yeah, basically apart from that, if I wasn't cowboy camping, I'd just put it at the entrance of my tent as a little mat. It squashes up a lot smaller than that. I use these old Montane walking pants. So I basically only wore them I use these in my quilt mostly to save carrying thermals, because with the quilt you're obviously laying straight on the mattress. I did walk up Mount Sonderen, but I think that was the only time I wore them during the day. But I wore them every night in the quilt. What else we got here? Okay, so I've got this old pillowcase with this knockoff kind of satiny kind of look about it. It's just a cheap thing you buy at
Big W.
Big W, there you go. And I got Sam to sew an elastic strap around it so I can flick it under my mat, which holds it in place, which works well. A pair of, okay, so I never use these. So I took a pair of like polypropylene socks, thinking I might use them in the quilt at night, but I never actually used these. It wasn't cold enough most of the time. Took a short sleeve thermal. So if I wanted to wash some clothes, I only had one shirt, which I haven't got with me. So I had one long sleeve shirt. If I wanted to wash it, then I'd chuck these on during the day, or like a t-shirt, and yeah, while the shirt dried. And the same with the pants. If I wanted to wash my shorts and I needed to dry and I want to wear them, then I just chuck on the pants. I took my Z-Pack's Vertex rain jacket, Gore-Tex jacket. Didn't need it, didn't wear it, but you've got to, I think, even on the Larapinta, especially when you're doing a yo-yo, you're out there for a fair while, you never know what might happen. So, I mean, it's good too. If it got really cold, I could have used it to brakes to kind of, as a windbreak, but it never got that bad for me. What else is in my bag of tricks? Okay, so I haven't got my sleeping bag. Normally my quilt lives in here. So this is a little stuff sack, like waterproof stuff sack from Sea to Summit. That's my straps for my quilt. Because I didn't want to compress the quilt too much, I've just kind of loosely shoved it into my bag for the drive home. So this is my quilt. It's a tier gear quilt. I think I've mentioned it before in quite a few videos. This is the one that's good down to about -2. Fine for the Larapinta. I found. There was a few nights I had to do up the top, but most of the time I didn't even have it done up. I only had it kind of strapped into the mattress on one side and just laid over me. The thing is, you've got to be careful when you're cowboy camping, because they are a little bit more drafty than a sleeping bag. I mean, obviously there's no back on it. So you just have to be, if you're going to cowboy camp, you've got to kind of watch it a little bit and make sure you're going to be warm enough. I was fine. But if the wind changed direction and kind of came up through where my neck was, it would blow it up like a big sausage until I woke up and kind of cinched it up. You can cinch it up. It's got press studs and it's like and ties, like you can tighten it up. So you can cinch it up around your shoulders. But if you sleep when the wind changes, yeah, you wake up to being laying in a balloon. So this is a tier gear quilt. The company's not, well, I've heard they've been sold, but I haven't seen any. I don't know if they're actually still making gear or what they're doing. There's some other Australian companies around that are making them though. There's a company up in Katoomba, it might be Wilderness Gear, and I think Neve Gear make them. So I highly recommend quilts. It's a one piece of gear that unless you're camping in really, really cold, like the snow, I just love quilts. Highly versatile and light. So this is my cooker that goes with well, this is the pot. The cooker was in my food bag, wherever that was. I got a little gas cartridge, knife, little kind of chucks thing,
Lighter.
cigarette lighter, yeah, and some spare matches in here. This is a toke. It's a 900mm. So that's been good. I've had that for quite a few years now. I mean, you can do what you can do with one pot. It is a good pot though. It's fairly strong. It's still mostly round. The top still goes on it, which is always a bonus. I have this little kind of khaki stuff sack with my toiletries in it. So it's got toilet paper, another cigarette lighter, a trowel, some wet wipes for cleaning myself at night when I, clean all the mud and dust off or whatever. Yeah, that kind of stuff, just toiletry stuff. So that, on the Larapinta, a lot of the toilets in the camping trailheads have got toilet paper, but when you get away from them or you're out on the one at Brinkley Bluff or Mount Sonder, there's no toilet paper. So I think you do need to carry toilet paper on this walk and have a plan on how you look after it too. Okay, this is an odd one. Because I was doing food drops and I had to reseal them, I had to take some tape. So I got this gaffer tape. It's like, I don't know, 20mm kind of PVC tape. I just get it at Bunnings. I think it's in the painting section, to be honest with you. I seal up my food drums with it. Works really well. Having said that, I don't normally carry it with me, but on this walk I did. Okay, my Thermarest now we're extern. This is the last trip I'm going to be using this particular mat because it's the valve in the mat has developed a slow leak over time. I think it's just full of grit. I mean, I've had it since 2019 maybe. And it's had a lot of walks. But it now goes flat it's down to about every 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours now. So it doesn't make for a restful sleep. Luckily I had the Z-mat underneath as well, so I get a little bit more sleep. It wasn't waking up after an hour and a half laying on the rock, but it wasn't far off. So I'm gonna talk to the people that sold it to me and see if I can get a replacement valve, because there's no holes in it. It hasn't delaminated. It's been a brilliant mat. However, they're not cheap. I'm thinking they're pushing about $400, $300 and something bucks. So if I can replace the valve in it, I'll keep it. But obviously, I need to get a new one for New Zealand. So I probably won't go for New Zealand. I don't need something with an RV of 6.9. So I'll probably go for something with an RV of around 4. And I might take a Z-mat as well, which will pop it up another percentage point, so that'll make it 5. We'll see how that goes. But this has been really good. I'm not criticising this mat. For a blow-up mat, I've never had a puncture. Yeah, the valve leaks now, but I'm thinking 500 nights from this. So even though it was 300 something bucks when I got it, I guess 500 nights is a fairly long time, and it's almost as if the valve has just got grit in it. For a while I could just soak it in hot water, the valve, and it'd go from going flat every 2 hours to every 7. But that trick doesn't seem to work anymore. So we'll see how we go with the replacement on that one, with the replacement valve. I use my Cedar Summit pillow inside my pillowcase with a few clothes. Look, it's a luxury. I like it. I've got fairly wide shoulders, so I need and I'm a side sleeper a lot of times, so I need something to kind of get under my head. Just the pillow alone isn't big enough, and just the clothes alone, unless I chuck a pack or something under the clothes, it's not big enough. So I like it, but yeah, a lot of people could probably get by without a pillow. Okay, last but not least, my tent. So this is the Z-Pax Duplex. This weighs about 500 grams, maybe 550 with stakes. So I used a combination of mini groundhogs and MSR groundhogs on this walk. I did break a peg on the last day, hammered it in with a rock. So I'm one mini groundhog down now, or maybe it's maybe the full size one. Anyway, I digress a bit. This tent, like the mat, has done many hundreds of nights and is well past its use-by date. So I've actually ordered one of the HMG tents, which is a similar design to this, but looks a little bit more stormproof, and I'm going to take that to New Zealand. So it'll be interesting to compare this with the HMG version after I get back from New Zealand and see how I go. On specs online, they look identical, except the HMG is about 100 grams heavier, and the kind of outside of it comes down a little bit lower to the ground, so it looks like I'll get a little bit more storm protection. This has been a really good tent though, can't complain about it, and I'm still going to use it. But I mean, the other reason I'm not taking this to New Zealand is I've got to get it into New Zealand, and after 4 or 5 years of hard use in Australia, it's got dirt and seeds, and I just think it's not worth trying to get this through biosecurity in New Zealand. It'll be a nightmare for me and them. So this is staying home, but it will get more use. That's about it. I had a little sack, a little garbo bag, heavy duty garbo bag. So this kind of did a lot of things. This would make my just make my ground sheet that little bit bigger when I was lying on it. It's just to give me a little bit more length, because I'm basically exactly the same length as the ground sheet. So I'd be able to put this at one end, and my feet or my head could kind of sit on the mat. It also worked if like if I had to do a pack swim or if it rained, I could kind of just chuck some gear in here if I had to keep stuff dry. It turned out there was no issues with that. But yeah, look, I don't know, you don't need this, especially with a Dyneema pack. If you had a like a nylon-y Cordura pack, I'd probably definitely recommend some kind of pack liner or garbage bag. I don't think they're really necessary unless you're walking in southwest Tassie or maybe Fjordland in New Zealand. I don't think they're really necessary with a one of these type of Dyneema roll down, like dry bag type packs, but handy to have. And what's it weigh? 40 grams. All right, this has been a pretty boring video, as all these gear videos are. So pretty much everything worked for me on the Lara, on my yo-yo. I did, just so you know, I was over 510 Ks, so I put it through a bit. There's nothing that I really think, well, I wish I left it at home. All right, maybe a pair of socks I could have left in a food drop somewhere, but you know, we're talking, you know, at the margins there. What I haven't shown is, like, I walked in a Columbia long sleeve shirt and a pair of MacPack shorts. I think they're called Copeland's. That's about the only thing that's not in this video. All right, I'm gonna, like I mentioned before, I'll pop up a video. I'm gonna do a logistics video, and then I might pop up a special video on the hockers and the footwear. Because yeah, the hockers copped a beating over that. Well, they've done about 530 Ks now. So yeah, I think a standalone video, and I'll go through the issues and maybe talk about footwear in general and the Larapinta, because in my experience, the Larapinta is one of the harder trails in Australia for footwear. I actually carry a roll of Leukotape with me. I've been carrying for 6 years. I've never used it. I've only used a few inches of it, and on this trail I'd used the whole roll of Leukotape up before I even finished the walk, but I was still about 3 or 4 days from finishing the walk on other people's blisters, patching people up and trying to keep them going, because so many people had so much trouble with their feet. All right, but I'll talk about that maybe a little bit more in the next one. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you stuck by this. It wasn't the most riveting video. I'll catch you on the next one.